African nations to ensure job security. And Kenya closes primary and secondary schools in Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kumusu cities. Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for being late. You're watching at this news hour with the news. I'm Biniam Gatana. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in full. To stay tuned. The Council of Ministers on Wednesday approved for regulations and referred the draft to the Parliament for scrutiny and approval with additional inputs on the 22nd regular meeting. First, the Council discussed the proposed regulation on classification and protection of government classified information. Accordingly, the Council approved the regulation to advance the management and utilization of government classified information. Secondly, the Council discussed the proposed bill regarding security certification and control of information technology products. The highest ministerial body also extensively discussed and unanimously approved a draft regulation of the Ethiopian Capital Market Authority's staff management. Finally, the Council deliberated on draft regulations proposed for the establishment of the Ethio Biopharma Group and Shelled Vax Enterprises, unanimously voting for the establishment of the two separate entities. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that Ethiopia's green legacy diplomacy work is gaining international recognition. Minister spokesperson Meles Alem gave a bi-weekly press briefing to local media and foreign correspondents focusing on green diplomacy work and foreign relations. In his briefing, the spokesperson said that history has been made at the national level by planting more than 566 million samplings in 12 hours.
The 17th of July was the day that Ethiopia made history in the Green Legacy campaign. Spearheaded by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, Ethiopians planted a record of 566 million tree seedlings. Members of the diplomatic community based in Addis Ababa participated in the Green Legacy program. Ethiopian missions around the world also took part in this effort. I would like to express my gratitude to members of the diplomatic community who participated in the second round campaign of Green Legacy initiative on behalf of my ministry. The initiative is exemplary not only for Africa but also for the whole world, and the green diplomacy has won international recognition.
On the other hand, the spokesperson said Ethiopia's path from conflict to peace has drawn the attention of various countries and boosted the national image building activities.
Ethiopia ከግጭት ወደ ሰላም የሄደችበት መንገድ
The 43rd Ordinary Session of the Executive Council of the African Union, held in Nairobi, Kenya, where Ethiopia's transition from conflict to peace has drawn the attention of various countries. It was a conference where it was possible to tell Africans about Ethiopia's path to peace after the conflict, underpinning the reconstruction, transitional justice and national dialogue. Ethiopia has also succeeded in formulating and implementing its agendas and carrying out bilateral relations.
In other news, AU Commissioner for Trade and Industry, Albert Muchanga, said the continent is bouncing back despite the negative effects of the global crisis. He was speaking at the launch of the Africa's Development Dynamics 2023 report. Muchanga indicated that GDP growth in Africa is estimated to return to levels before COVID-19 at 3.7 in 2023, second highest rate globally, after Asia 5% and before Latin America and the Caribbean 1.6%. Africa needs to take on a stronger role when it comes to investment, Muchanga said, adding that there are 46 billionaires in Africa, over half of them do not invest in the continent. The impact on investing and philanthropy remains small, the commissioner underscored. Welcome back. You're watching at this news hour. At the news continues. The advisor of Russian Federation President Anton Kobyakov said the second Russian-African summit is critical to cement development of relations in an area of global change between Russia and Africa. Russian and African business leaders and international relation experts will discuss the challenge facing Russia and African countries in an area of global change and will talk about the most pressing issues. President Russian Association of Fertilizer Producer Andrei Gurev, President of the new Commonwealth Industrial Union Konstantin Babkin, participated in the discussion. The forum's business program consists of 4 large topic areas covering all spheres of cooperation between Russia and the African continent. The potential for cooperation between Russia and African countries in the field of advanced technological solutions will be unlocked by speakers at a session entitled Cutting Edge Technologies for Africa's Sustainable Development, to be held as part of the Cooperation in Science and Technology block. Moving on, Ethiopian ambassador to Israel, Tesfaye Yitai, conferred with a member of Israel's unicameral legislature, Knesset Moshe Solomon, on how to enhance historical ties between Ethiopia and Israel. Ethiopia and Israel have long-standing and historical people-to-people ties. The two sides hammered out ways of working in cooperation in areas of science, technology, agriculture, and education, and they have also stressed the need to expand areas of cooperation. MEP Solomon of the Knesset noted that Ethiopia and Israel need to forge parliamentary cooperation and strengthen trade relations, citing the presence of Ethiopian Jews in the country as an opportunity in this regard. Meanwhile, Ethiopian ambassador to Kenya, Bacha Debele, conferred with Kenyan Principal Secretary of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Korori Singh Ori. The two sides agreed to further long-existing bilateral cooperation between the two sisterly countries, more precisely to reactivate the Joint Ministerial Commission as well as the Joint Border Administrator and Commissioners meeting in the near future. They also emphasized the need to enhance collaboration in the areas of political, economic, cultural, as well as security sectors. In our business segment, investors from the United African Royal Assembly in South Africa and the AE Trade Group from Ethiopia urged African nations to work together to ensure job security by providing job opportunities for Africans. Talking with EBC English program, they are committed to helping to mobilize investments through access to financing from different donors to create millions job opportunities for different Africans in decades. Kasaon Chane has compiled the full story. Take a look.
Poor labor management results in most Africans being out of employment in a continent. The problem is also facing a lack of competent, skilled manpower and quality training, among other problems. Other challenges include persistent conflict and instability that discourage investment, encourage capital flight, and cause bankruptcies, poor job creation planning, disorganized support for enterprise development, unorganized entrepreneurial mindset, and weak work ethics, and lack of continent integration to address interconnected issues. Talking with Etv English program, Mulalam Siyum, CEO of AE Trade Group, remarked that the project of AE Trade Group aims to empower medium and small-scale enterprises across the continent, which would then bring about grassroots transformation for sustainable economic development.
Accelerating a job creation there is a number of excessive demand on job creations in Africa, and we commend first of all, the Ethiopian government in the last 2 years. The Ministry of Skill and Labor has started a national job forum, and that was inspired, and we came to discuss on the job creations at the continental level.
The United African Royal Assembly also vowed to promote the creation of millions of jobs for Africans over the next 10 to 15 years by encouraging investment and gaining access to financing from different donors.
Providing access to the finance is very important. So we have partnered as the United African Royal Assembly with the AE Trade Group in the Strategic Investment Alliance. This alliance brings together key partners to be able to unlock that potential, to be able to attract investment into the continent, to pool our resources so we can focus on very strategic programs in the continent that will create jobs. We've set a target of 80 to 125 million jobs over the next 10 to 15 years in the continent, and hence it's what will require significant investments at every level.
The investors further urged African nations to collaborate as well as to maximize their efforts to curb problems to create new jobs in a continent.
Meanwhile, the digital payment system in Ethiopia is growing from time to time. In particular, since the country started working on a plan called Digital Strategy 2025 to increase its digital system, digitization in Ethiopia has been recording rapid growth. Over the last few years, efforts are well underway, bridging of the telecom and banking sectors to practice digital processing of payments for the service. Ethiopian Electric Utility is one of the institutions that have made their service payment digital, and since the service started, it has announced that the number of customers who are paying digitally has been increasing.
It has been 2 years since we started charging digitally. First, we were making digital payments by coordinating with the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia and later with Ethio Telecom. In the last Ethiopian fiscal year, we have made a wide movement, and the attention given to digitalization at the national level has helped us to increase the number of our customers who pay digitally.
Meanwhile, stating that digitization of electricity service payment has brought great benefit to both the customers and the institution, the director states that customers using post-paid services are protected from additional costs and wasted time.
Having a digital payment system is of great importance to both our institution and our customers. In terms of our facility, we have been able to ensure that customers pay their bills on time. It has been also possible to prevent our customers from having to spend more on transportation and wasting their time and effort.
are just officially entering into the Masai Mara National Reserve. Where our camp is the Mara North Conservancy. So it's a conservation area, but it's not technically like the National Reserve. The National Reserve is actually $80 per person per day to get in. So it's very steep. If you're planning a trip to the Mara in Kenya, keep that in mind. And that's something that's usually not included in your camp. Come across a pride of lions. There's a bunch of them.
That was so cool.
Oh yeah, we found a cheetah. What a treat, oh my god.
In our final African updates, the Kenyan government has announced the closure of all-day primary and secondary school within Nairobi, Mombasa and Kisumu cities on Wednesday over protest called by the opposition. Tensions are still high in Kenya after the opposition leaders calls massive protest across the nation. Tigis Nisa has compiled the full story.
In a statement on Tuesday, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said the move is to ensure the safety of learners. Kindiki said in a statement that as a precautionary measure to ensure the safety of school children, it has been decided that all-day primary and secondary schools within the cities of Nairobi and Mombasa are going to be closed on Wednesday. He said the government had received credible security intelligence that criminal elements were planning to unleash terror and violence on the public by engaging in armed skirmishes with security agencies around certain schools in Nairobi and Mombasa. He also said the Ministry of Education shall announce the resumption of learning in the institution upon assessment of the security situation on Wednesday. The government has promised to respond firmly to any excess following deadly violence at previous rallies. The Azimio coalition led by veteran politician Raila Odinga has called for 3-day consecutive of demonstrations starting today against the policies of President William Ruto, whom they accused of exacerbating the rising cost of living in this Eastern African country. In a joint statement on Tuesday, 13 Western countries, including the United States and the United Kingdom, expressed their concern at the high levels of violence during the latest demonstration, urging various parties to resolve their differences peacefully. Kenya, the economic powerhouse of East Africa, is facing high inflation at a large debt contracted in particular under the presidency of Uhuru Kenyatta, of whom William Ruto was vice president.
And now a recap of the top stories once again. Investors urge African nations to ensure job security. And Kenya closes primary and secondary schools in Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu cities. You've been watching at this news hour. I've been William Getane. Thank you for watching us. Have a great time. Goodbye for me now.
African